what's up? My name is Brandy Brunson, Brandy the Bull, Brandy the Boss, Brandy the Brave.
And I'm Shaheedah Tinsley-Cobbs, Irvin and Jackie's daughter. I mean, you got so many names. I got to add some as we do this.
I love it.
So we're coming here to you today because we have a podcast, which this is what we're doing right now, called Business and Balance.
Yes.
And Brandy and I pretty much have been nonstop talking for about the past 6 months on the phone, just about, business, our business, balance, and how we are either dealing with it and or not dealing with it. And we thought we should bring these conversations to our public.
Right.
So that's why we're here. So just a little bit about Brandy and myself. Well, let me just say myself first. I'm a licensed real estate agent in the state of Pennsylvania. Been in the business since 2007. So you just do the math there. And how about you, Brandy?
So I'm licensed in PA and Delaware. I've been in the business a little over 5 years. I'm loving every minute of it. And we literally talked about bringing a sneak peek of our group chat and our fun messages and the stuff that we bid on all day long, in addition to talking business to the podcast. So
that's why we're here. We just wanted to give you a little window of what we do. Just a PD version of our group chats and our conversations. Because we want to stay in the business.
Right.
But so how do we know each other, Brandy?
Oh my goodness. So we met a few times actually, which I'm disappointed about because like I said, we should have been friends a long time ago.
Yeah.
But we are both a part of the Good Neighbor team. We've been working together for some time, just kind of build a bond. We have a lot of things in common and we connected.
Absolutely. It's almost to the fact of if we don't talk, it's like, where you been?
I got an attitude.
Absolutely.
It's
and
a problem.
And she still won't share her location with me, which I'm a little, upset about.
Yes.
Because then I would know where you are when you don't answer
Without
the phone.
asking?
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, she's probably taking a nap, or okay, I see her.
Yeah, I don't need you judging me. I don't need you judging me
I'm
not where I'm supposed to be.
But I don't judge. It's just, I just need to make sure you alive sometimes.
Yes, got you.
See, that's all it's about.
So we will work on it.
As you can see, we kind of like go off on tangents, but what the podcast is primarily about and what it's going to be about is us talking about how we have our business and how we balance, and we want to talk to like-minded individuals on how they do it, because I think it's important. As a mother, as a wife, my business definitely didn't come first all the time. And I'm just kind of starting to step out because my priority was being a wife and mother for so long.
Right.
So I'm, just want to kind of give an insight because I assume that other people might be struggling with the same thing.
Yes, definitely. So the balance portion is a big deal. It's tough. I can't say that I have, because I have also been a wife and a mother and a 9-to-5er and an entrepreneur all at the same time at a certain point in life. And I can't say I ever got the balance down 100%. It felt like I was lacking in one place and doing well in the other. Like never, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I definitely, so here's the thing. The plan was, before I became a parent and a wife, when you're in high school, could have sworn I was going to be Claire Huxtable, having kids in my 30s. And then I actually became a step parent before I became an actual parent.
Crazy, yes.
And so there was like no playbook. I kind of just went by the seat of my pants. But I did know one thing, that I did want to be hands-on and be there for my kids. So the plan had always been to be an entrepreneur, even when I was in high school. But once I became a mom, I know how hard you got to go in order to do that.
Right.
So it kind of made me do a little pivot until I thought, with my first son, all right, when he gets a little bit older, I'll go hard.
Right.
But then I had 2 additional children. And so with each child, I swear, I just was like, well, everything is just going to go on the back burner. Let me put myself in positions where as though I can just be task driven in the industry, opposed to being like, the face and up front.
Yeah.
Because in real estate, in the industry, especially when I started, like, you kind of had to be up front. You had to let people know who you were.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do that. Like, I didn't want to go to your happy hours. I didn't want to go to your networking events because my son had a game.
Yes.
I wanted to be able to drop my kids off at school and pick them up. Aftercare and daycare, that none of that stuff was, that was foreign to me, being from the family that I actually came from. So I knew I didn't want to do that. So I chose situations that I would be able to actually kind of like do what I needed to do, make my money, and then go back and do what my main goal was, which was making sure I wasn't raising little a-holes.
So, little a-holes. Quick question for you. So going back to what you said, kind of being in the background, so that you would be available for your kids and when they needed you, knowing what you know now, do you regret doing it that way? Would you have changed it up with your marketing, being more on the forefront, letting people know who you were back then versus, you coming out and doing it now?
So I don't know if I would say I would do it different. Because I would not want my kids to be like, oh, my mom is this big boss. She's this, that, and the third.
Right.
But I don't know who she is.
Right.
So certain things I would do a little bit different. I would probably lean more on, the people around me, like to do just basic things like pickups and and not wanting to be the one that my kids saw every day. I can remember one time my oldest son, Isaiah, I would pick him up 3:30 from daycare every day. I paid up until 6 o'clock, but he would be picked up at 3:30. And I don't even know if he knew how to tell time, but I know this little boy was tapping his foot when I picked him up at 4 o'clock that day. A little
later?
Yeah. Like he knew.
He said, wait,
hold on. Yeah, I'm never here for snack. What's going on here?
Yes.
So I don't know what made me want to be there, that type of parent, but it just kind of felt, this is what I needed to do. I didn't really trust too many people, including my mom, their dad, to do it exactly the way I wanted to do it. And I probably would have kind of like divvied out some things. Right. But overall, the positions that I was in and the different companies or the different companies that I've even worked for or been an independent contract for, I feel like I learned so much in the background opposed to being up front. Because when you're up front, I kind of feel like you don't have time to learn the ins and out of the business as much as you can if you're wanting to be out there. And because some of the people that I was being in the background for did not know nothing.
They didn't know.
And I swear, I'm like, okay, they're moving and shaking in the industry. I'm like, oh, okay, how did you do this? Oh, well, you're going to have to figure that out. And I'm just like, okay, all right, well, let me go and figure that out and go home and after hours. But I was home and I was able to be there with the kids. So that worked for me at the time. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I definitely would kind of lean a little bit more, maybe get out there a little bit more. But I can't say I would do things that
much differently. Okay, you look like you're doing well to me. Every time I turn around, you got another deal closing. Amen.
Well, that's because of the team I'm on right now. I mean, I feel like, sometimes I get, when you know people and you think they know what you do. And then next thing you know, they're buying a house or they selling a house and you like, oh, okay. And then they want to, invite you to their birthday party. And I'm like, why didn't you do this with me? I'm confused. And then, I forgot. But I think when I came on to the Good Neighbor team and me having more of a social media presence, then people were reminded. So now, I'm getting reached out to more. You get those calls.
Yeah, I think social media is definitely a great tool in promoting. Like, absolutely. Especially for the free.
For the free.
For the free. So that's what's up, though.
But how about yourself? Like, as being a wife and being a mom, and you've been in the business for a little over 5 years. Before that, you might have had more traditional roles. Right. So how did you find it with balance and being a mom and a wife?
Yeah, so in my kids' younger years, I actually was able to stay home. We were recently married, and I was able to go and take care of the kids, make sure they were straight. They didn't go to daycare, pre-K, or any of that stuff until they were, I made sure they were okay. So it was good, but it was hard not being able to do stuff I wanted to do for myself. Not being able to go places. You need self-care time when you're taking care of children, when you have young kids. So I wasn't able to do some of the things I wanted to do because I didn't have the money to do it, being a stay-at-home mom. So I went back into the work field, and it was tough. I couldn't make every game, couldn't make every practice. There were times where they were away for the weekends for tournaments, and, I just couldn't go. I couldn't leave. I had to work and those kind of things. So it was hard feeling like I was missing out, but having to provide. And then I jumped into the entrepreneurial journey when they got of age, when they were more independent. So that was exciting. But again, another set of struggles, a different beast completely, because now, entrepreneurship is doing everything on your own. Absolutely. Versus having somebody kind of overseeing you and what you're doing. So that was different. And, my marriage suffered a whole lot because of my entrepreneurial journey. So we are in the process of a divorce now, unfortunately. But like I said, I learned a lot. I was able to get everything done, I felt like, in a way that worked for us while we were trying to get to where we are now. And I'm excited. I'm going to go.
Now, you're going to have to back up a little bit.
We slid it in.
We just slid all the way in. So you're in the process of a divorce?
Yes. Almost final. Yep.
Almost final.
Yes.
But I think that's a good segue to talking about balance.
Right.
Owning a business obviously takes a lot of your time.
Yeah.
And so just a little bit, you don't got to go into deep,
Right,
but how did that change the dynamic of your relationship with your husband?
Yep. So I think when you come into a relationship, especially a marriage with a person, y'all have boundaries. You guys have guidelines that you are working with each other toward. You have goals that you're working with each other toward. And we never had a conversation about entrepreneurship coming into play, or how much it costs for startup, or how much, work you actually have to put in just to get yourself rolling, especially in a new industry. So I think that when those issues came, we didn't know how to deal with it, and we especially didn't know how to deal with it as a team. And I started rocking out by myself.
Wow.
Rocking out by myself because I'm going for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Once you get a taste of it, so not only am I independent.
Yes, I was going for it.
And then you get the money, it's like, this makes sense.
Yes.
So you got to kind of get on board, or
yes,
it was well and swell while it lasted.
Seriously, it's hard to go back. I mean, I have tried to go back to the 9-to-5 capacity after entrepreneurship and being able to make my own schedule and actually being able to earn what I feel like I put in. And going back to a 9-to-5 was just like, oh no, it's not for me.
Yeah, that's absolutely. I'm sorry to hear that. Well,
don't be sorry now. Don't be sorry. Okay.
Well,
yeah,
you live, you learn.
Yes,
you
absolutely.
do things differently.
Absolutely.
I can definitely relate. I've actually been an independent contractor entrepreneur longer than any type of 9-to-5 or regular job.
Yep.
And my main reasoning for doing that was for flexibility. But it's a little different when you starting to step out, whereas though, going to events, whereas though all of the years, it's just like, I'm in the background.
Yes.
I don't want to go. And then now it's just like, oh, you getting a photo shoot here? You getting a photo shoot there? Oh, you going there? Or y'all going where? And it's just like, it's an adjustment.
Right.
But, that other person definitely has to be your biggest cheerleader and entrepreneurial.
Say that.
So if that's not there, it's just we're all gonna grow, because especially when both yourself and myself, we got into relationships when we were really young.
Yep.
So there's no way for me to be 19-year-old Shaheeda. And today I'll be 42.
Come on, you look
42.
good, okay? Skin glistening and shining and glowing.
Well, 42 in October, and it's just like, there's no way I can be that same person.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't even, I don't even know who I was going to be this like. So, there's adjustments.
Touching on that though, do you think that if you could go back at that age, and like I said, just kind of do it differently in terms of starting a relationship that early, would your focus have been on a relationship? Would it have been more on education? Would it have been more on entrepreneurship, starting your journey? Like, what do you think, knowing what you know now?
Well, from my experience, I always tell my younger folks, like, I think 25 and older is a good age to start any type of long-term, can't eat, can't sleep relationship with anybody. And I say that because when there's turmoil or when there's things that you have to, hurdles you got to jump over, like when you're still trying to figure yourself out, it is a distraction. So you don't know who you are.
That part, that's true.
I didn't have a list.
That's true.
People be having a list now. I didn't have a list. And, luckily my husband and I are still, on the same path and making adjustments.
Yep, absolutely.
But I didn't have a list. Right. And where you think that it's just an implied, like, oh, we both want this, so we both want that. Right. You got to be more specific. But so I would say after maybe 25 is a good age. Okay. And at that point in time, I think you start to know what direction in life you want to go. Yes. And I think for me, I met someone that was amazing and had a different outlook on life than anybody that I ever met. And I'm like, oh, well, this is it. Okay. There's, if there's an expiration, if I'm not available, then who knows if this is going to, recreate itself. So that's definitely why because that wasn't the plan. Like, I had a boyfriend in high school, and when we broke up, I was devastated. I think my grades slipped, all types of stuff. So it's just like, I was like, I'm never doing this again. Yeah. But then, I was in college. I actually used to take my my stepson to class with me.
So hold on, just pause right here. Because one, you have to be a special type to be young, to be a stepmom, and to be dedicated to it to the point where you're taking your stepchild to school with you. So talk about that for a moment, please.
Well, I'll just say this, that the family that I come from, like, when his kids are involved, you just step in. And my husband and I at the time were literally casually dating. Like, and we were casual because I said, I'm not going to get into any relationships because I'm in college. Right. So I literally was a self, a over glamorized babysitter. Like, I literally was just like, oh, I watch him. Right. I watch him. And then, like, it wasn't until after I had my son, Isaiah, that I was like, all right, well, I'm looking at him like, I guess we together.
Yeah, this is a thing.
So what we gonna do now? So, like, and I credit my grandma for that because, I get a lot of, oh, that was big of you. And I'm just like, I felt like I had a connection with my stepson at the time. I met him when he was 4 weeks old. Okay. And it just went from there. It's just like kind of step in when it needs to be. Yes. Now, would I recommend it for someone at my age? Probably not. Okay. Because like I said, even if it's your child or anybody else's child, you got to figure out who you are first. Yes. So, it's successful. My stepson is 21 years old right now.
Oh, and I commend you for that, sis, because like I said, to step in that role at that age is crazy. And I'm sure you had a lot to do with molding the amazing young man he is.
Well, I guess so. I was there. I was there, as they say. Yo. So, well, we talked about some of the challenges and work-life balance. Right. And, I see a lot of things online that kind of like grinds my gears, even if it doesn't affect me. But I know that there's, with women my age, younger, women that are going to come up. And I just feel like, we got to kind of speak on it. And I watched the podcast not too long ago, and I seen like the comments about it. And I think it was a young lady who was successful in the industry, and she was speaking about, what she was looking for in a man or her dating or something like that. Yeah. And it was just like, oh, well, we came to hear, what your successes. And it's like, as women, we kind of can't separate the two. Right. Because I've been in positions where, let me just point this out. Any office that I've ever had, I've never had my children's pictures up. I've never said I had any kids. If it came out, it came out because of whatever. Someone asking me or something like that. Right. Or if I would mention I was at a baseball tournament. Yes. That's the only way, because I felt the need to just kind of like keep it in the background and keep it separate.
Right.
Because once you become, you're a wife and you're a mom, then, that's going to affect the way you do business.
Yes, right.
So people who want to do business with you might look at you different. People, you might not get that promotion.
Yes.
Because you might need to be available. I'm going to need you 24/7. So your kids and your husband might need you 24/7. And as a man, you're not really. You could have 5 wives. Nobody would think that would affect the way you do business or the way you do your job.
Right. No, I agree 110%. I'm the same way. I'm not big. People that know me know what my family situation looks like, but I was never big on going too deep into my personal life, but it very much has an effect on your business life. Like if things are not right personally, if things are not right at home, or if your relationship is, suffering, it does show up in business.
Absolutely.
So it's important to have balance in both.
Absolutely. And as women, and we'll have men to come up on this podcast and talk as well.
Come on, men.
Because, how it affects them.
Right.
But it's just like, it can't be isolated for us. Or I haven't really been able to, come across a woman where as though it can be isolated.
Right.
And even if you're a single woman and you don't have, a husband, children, whatever the case may be, if you're out here looking for Mr. Right, that it can definitely affect your mental when you go into the office.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then if you don't have a man, they're just like, oh, well, what's wrong with her? Oh, or if you're
after a certain point,
if you're attending company functions or events where there's a lot of couples there and you're by yourself, then somebody's trying to come in and set you up with somebody.
Right.
So it's just like, no matter where we swing it, it's going to affect it, and it's going to be in everybody's mind.
Yeah. I specifically had somebody tell me one time that if I was to, put my family life more on the forefront, then I actually would come across a little more trustworthy, because people tend to be more trustworthy in this person's eyes if they had a husband and if they had children and if they had family. They were more responsible and they would be more inclined to do business with them. So I thought it was interesting to hear that. But everybody has a different outlook. No, who said that?
Who said that?
It was interesting. It was interesting.
I just feel like it's just, you're damned if you do, if you're damned if you don't.
Absolutely. Somebody's going to have something to say either way. So
wow.
Be you.
Would be more trustworthy.
You.
Don't pay attention to my body of work.
Okay.
Just pay attention on whether or not I push some kids out.
And if you're in a marriage and a relationship, you're trustworthy. Crazy.
Wow. You obviously have commitment issues if you're not.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's a lot.
But it's interesting to see what people's takes and perspectives are on certain things. And everybody has them. Everybody has a...
Well, let me ask you this. Was it a woman or a man who said that to you?
It was a woman. It was a woman. Yes. Interesting, right?
Well, I feel like women, let's not even get into that, but...
Oh, that's a different podcast?
Yeah, it's a different podcast. It's just like, sometimes some things can have a little hint of hate in it when
I like that. A hint of hate?
A little hint of hate.
Come on.
In it. Like you're doing a lie, and
yes.
But if you want, if you want this person, or if you want to come across this way, you need to do it this way, or you need to do it that way.
Yes. And oftentimes, who does that advice come from? It seems like it's a lot of times people that's not qualified to even give it.
Yes.
But
either it's somebody of the opposite sex, or if I'm single and you're married, now you're trying to give me.
Yeah. So going back to what you said, a lot of people aren't qualified. That's why you take what you hear with a grain of salt.
Absolutely.
What applies to you, you take it and apply it. If it doesn't, then don't worry about what people have to say. Like, you have to live your life. You have to do what's best for you, and you have to work in a capacity that's comfortable.
Absolutely. So now you're just supposed to be out here with, here's my kids, here's this, here's that.
This is my whole family life and situation. You know what? That reminds me too of a lot of times people say, well, everybody doesn't post the bad that's going on in their life. They post the good stuff, so you think everybody's doing well, but they're really not, because they're not posting the difficulties or the struggles. And I'm like, well, what do you want people to post? Like that my bank account is overdrawn $85. What do you want to see? Like, of course people are going to show you the best part of their lives, and they're going to show up a certain way because that's how they want to be perceived, and that's how they want to present. You know?
Or I've seen people who post when they're like in the hospital, and people be like, why are you posting that? We don't want to see that. Like, so like I said, damned if you do, damn if you don't.
Right.
That
Hilarious.
is crazy. Like, I don't know. I give out a lot of advice, I have to say.
Yes. And you give out good advice too.
But I first of all, my advice is going to come on a one-on-one, and it's not going to be, look, this is where I think. Right. It's, you know, somebody has to open the door for me to give the advice that I'm going to give. Because the last thing I need to hear is, oh, well, you don't know, or this, that, and the third. I'll listen to your whole thing.
Right.
And then I've started to do with what Anthony Lee says is, in the words of Anthony Lee, can I push back on you? Can I give you a little pushback?
Can I push back on that for a second?
Yeah.
Ask for permission.
Ask for permission.
Yeah, that actually is a really good tool that I've learned through him, and a skill I've learned through him, to ask people if it's okay for feedback.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Just say that again. Like, what should people do before they give out advice?
Ask.
Ask as the person.
Absolutely.
Even with children, like, telling your kid they should do this, that, and the third, and, so, every year that my kids play sports and dance, every year I ask them, I do ask them, do they want to do that?
Do you want to do this?
Yeah, because it requires a lot of my time.
I love that.
Yeah.
And we do that to our kids all the time. Like, they don't have opinions, or like they don't have a sense of who they want to be. You give your kids jobs to do, and you sign them up for what you want them to sign. And oftentimes we don't even ask their opinions. Like,
that's how, I've seen so many kids that can be burnt out of a sport or of anything. And then, with the, mental health being a thing now, whereas though, I don't know, they think it just dropped out of the air.
Out of the sky.
Yeah. Like, you definitely have to take in consideration, asking your kids if they want to do something. Obviously, you're not going to ask them, do you want to go to school?
Right.
Like, but what type of school you want to go to?
Yes.
And sometimes, like, even if they get to the high school part, and then it's like they're not really doing well.
Right.
Then you have to figure out, all right, well, is there a different alternative, like, that I can put them in? Because you forcing them to do something, and they're not going to do well in it.
And then you're disappointed if they fail.
Yeah.
Or you're disappointed if they want to drop out, or you're disappointed if they don't want to finish the sport out. And it's like they didn't want to do that in the first place.
I swear, the days of kids just going outside and playing the sport without parents arguing, fighting, and
it gets serious.
Yes,
Little league and stuff like that. It gets serious.
I said one time I was like, I'm gonna start a league and for kids, and parents gotta watch on Zoom. Because I'm a quiet parent.
That would be a completely different game.
Yeah. I'm a quiet parent now. Because I used to, and here we go back to this. I would ask my kids, do my yelling help? Would you like for me to stop yelling?
Want me to stop screaming?
Yeah.
That's cute.
And they would be like, one of my son, I say, I don't care. And then it's just like, but it depends. And then, for example, my daughter, she dances, and, the dance school she goes to at the recitals, a lot of the parents are like screaming their kid's name.
Okay.
And at first I was like, well, are they, how do you know they want y'all to scream?
Right.
So I did ask my daughter. I was like, do you want us to, scream your name? And she just was like, no, like, it doesn't help her. So I'm not going, we here.
She's such a cutie.
We here. I'm going to buy the closest seats, and we going to clap.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be screaming your name all crazy.
Yeah, my kids had to tell me, like, I don't even want you to come because you just going to scream. It's going to take me out the game. And I was like, oh, okay. So it would have been decent, and it would have been helpful for me to ask.
Yes.
Like, before just doing it.
Yes. I think with basketball, with my boys, I had to say to my husband one time, do you think that's helping? Like, this is when he wasn't the coach. Oh, God, when he was coach, that's a whole nother situation. But when he wasn't the coach, and we was like in the stands, and I was like, you think that's helping?
What did he say? What was his response?
I don't know. He was just, just yell out stuff.
Right.
Just yell out,
You know what else used to grind me up? When I would hear people talking about my kid. Like, oh, he should have quit that. First of all, now I'm mad.
Yeah.
I want to fight.
Yeah. I always be wanting to fight.
You do.
Yeah.
You do, actually.
I do. That's why I started boxing a couple years ago, because, like, I be wanting to fight.
Yes, you do be just ready to clean people. What is it? I'm gonna be her clean up.
Yes.
That's your favorite line.
Knock them clean the.
And got me saying clean.
All the
Everything
time.
clean.
Everything is clean.
That's funny. I love it.
So let's pivot into like talking a little bit more about real estate and real estate balance.
Yeah. Right.
Like right now, the interest rates are higher than they've ever been since I've been in the industry.
Right.
But, I've worked at a brokerage where the broker was in business since the 70s. And, she told me stories about how interest rates used to be like 15%. And I believe the loan that my father had on his house, the interest rate was like at 10% in the 80s. So, but the difference is that prices was a lot lower. But income was a lot lower as well. Right. So I guess just all together, like just everything is a mess. Yeah. These interest rates is a mess.
Yep.
And so right now we're having conversations with our clients of the interest rates versus the prices.
Yes.
Like, because just 2 years ago when interest rates was still at 3.5 to 4%,
right.
We was out here fighting and cashing out 401ks to pay over asking and appraisal
meet appraisal gaps. Yeah.
So that's like right now, that's the balance right now. It's like, yes, you have to buy a house. If you need to buy a house, buy a house.
Right. Absolutely.
Because renting a house isn't even cheap.
Yes.
So if you can buy a house, definitely buy a house. Interest rates are going to fluctuate up and down.
Yes.
Now you might not be able to afford as much house as you was before.
Yes, talk about that. The buying power.
Absolutely. So
has changed drastically.
Absolutely. So now I think the balance right now is getting into a neighborhood that you want and figuring out what the must-haves are.
Absolutely. Because the neighborhood, the newly renovated contemporary design property in the nice neighborhood is going to run you a lot of a different price point than, the property that has the basics and the necessities for you and your family in a nice neighborhood that's going to be affordable. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then the other thing that I wanted to touch on is, everybody's giving away money for grants. Like, what was the company, the bank called the Legacy Bank or something?
Oh, yes.
That kind of like fizzled away. I haven't heard anything else about it. It was like 100% loans or something like that.
Yes.
And, when I hear these different loan products that are giving away so much grant money, just, low down payment, I understand where we're trying to go.
Right.
But I just like to tell my buyers that you still want to save money. And at the end of the day, the lower amount that you put down, you're going to have a higher principal to pay interest on. And you're also going to have to pay that principal mortgage insurance, which is going to make your monthly mortgage higher. And if you're going FHA, that's not going to fall off unless you refinance, which is a fee for when you refinance.
Are you promoting grant money? Are you promoting specific loan programs to get people to entice them to want to be pre-approved? Or, are you promoting these things?
Well, that would mean that I would have to have like a lender.
That's another podcast too.
Yeah.
That's a different episode, sis.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem telling lenders, like, listen, I don't have no loyalty to nobody.
Okay.
I'm for whoever can,
get it done.
And as less painful as possible.
Right. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, for my buyers, and I might give a little bit more information than other agents.
Right.
I want you to know how to do this. And I don't think that my job is going to become obsolete if I'm telling you the ins and outs on how to buy a property. Yeah. That just means that you're going to come back to me when you need to locate that property and go through the process and doing the negotiation. So, I don't particularly say, hey, this grant is available. Right. I, for one, sit down and speak with the person to make sure that, to see what they have available. Right. And then we go through the different grants. Because not that I don't like grants, I just want us to get in a position to thinking about saving money.
Absolutely. So
and investing more into our savings.
Right. No, that was the point right there. I think, like, for me, grant money is like jumping in the water and not being able to swim. You have a vest on, like the safety vest may protect you, but it also could be faulty, and you want to make sure you can get out of there no matter what. Like, but you don't know if grant money is going to 100% come through. There are so many different stipulations and requirements and criteria for them that it's like, if it doesn't come through, is that it for you and your house and being able to move your family into the property that you wanted? I wouldn't risk it for not having the money saved up already.
Not to mention that in a negotiating situation, me as a listing agent gonna look at your grants and be like, I'm going to head over here.
Yes, absolutely.
Just because not all lenders are able to, in a timely manner, submit things so that the grants can close
in a timely manner.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I feel like the closing date is just a suggestion at this point.
It never
for some lenders. Hey, we want to close this year. That's what we should put.
Absolutely. No, seriously. The extensions never seem to end when it comes to the grant money sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just over and over again, and sellers get frustrated with that.
Absolutely.
So
definitely when you're looking for your house, let's figure out what are your must-haves. And kind of go from there.
Right.
Even if you have to do some upgrades, which nobody wants to get in there and do, because finding a good contractor is another.
It could be a hassle.
It can be a hassle. So definitely, but let's just sit down and figure out a plan. That's what I always say.
Realistic plan. Because
everybody's situation is different.
Absolutely.
So I think that what we want to talk about now is just first, Brandy, give them your Instagram.
Okay, I am Brandy _the_brave.
And I am Tinsley-Cobbs Realty. And so what we want you to do is send us any real estate questions that you have so we can discuss on the next episode. And who do we have for our next guest?
Yo, we have the one,
the
and only boss, big stepper, Anthony Lee. Let's go.
We're giving you our take on being mothers and being wives in this industry, the business, real estate. But Anthony Lee is a big stepper in the business as well. But what I don't think a lot of people know about him is that he is a hands-on father. And I want him to talk a little bit about that balance. So that's why we're going to have him on the next episode.
I'm excited. That's going to be a goodie.
Absolutely. So thank you for tuning in to Business and Balance with Shaheeda Tinsley-Cobbs.
Brandy the Bull, Brandy the Boss, Brandy the Brave.
I got to add some extra names.
Next time.
And we're signing off with the Good Neighbor team.
Yes. Let's go.
Wait. Really quickly. So we signed on to another brokerage.
We are.
You tell them about the brokerage.
Oh my goodness, guys. Realty One Group Focus is the brokerage that we're with. It is an amazing experience. It's an epic time. It's a moment. Okay? I don't think we can give them more than that, though.
Okay, we'll wait.
We gotta wait.
I feel like we've already
Is it out? Is it outside?
I feel like we said it
well,
already.
let them know. You let them know.
Okay. No, you let them know.
Damn, you want me to get in trouble?
Absolutely. No, all right. So we're going to be opening up an office in Philadelphia.
Yes, come on.
And we have a new person who's going to be the owner of that brokerage.
Owner. That's big.
And we'll tell y'all next episode.
Okay. All that didn't even give it to y'all. See how she do?
Yes. So thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you got something out of it. And we will see you at the next episode. Peace out.
Bye.